All right, let's get right into it. The story we're about to unpack here, it's not really just about chess. It's about a massive shift in what it takes to win in this high-speed digital world we all live in. And it all starts with one person, 1 year, and a totally radical decision to just throw out a century of tradition. This is the story of Hikaru Nakamura and how he built a method, a whole philosophy, on 3 simple but powerful words: speed, pattern, and dominance. The year is 2020. I mean, you remember it. The whole world is accelerating, it's locking down, everything is moving online. And the ancient game of chess, it's getting dragged right along with it, whether it likes it or not. For Hikaru Nakamura, an American grandmaster who was already known, even feared, for his aggressive, super-fast style, this wasn't just a change of scenery. This was a paradigm shift. This was an opportunity. You see, for decades, top-level chess was all about quiet, slow thinking. Victory was something you built carefully in your own mind through this deep, almost meditative calculation. The clock? Well, the clock was this monster you had to manage, carefully saving every single second. The heroes of that era were these strategic giants whose games were these slow-burn masterpieces. That was the rulebook. That's just how you became the best, period. But this new reality, it was a complete break from that old world. You can see the collision right here. On one side, you have the tradition of careful, slow planning, and on the other, you have the absolute chaos of online speed chess. We're talking about a world where games aren't decided in hours, but in minutes, sometimes literally in seconds. The game wasn't asking for perfect, long-term plans anymore. It was demanding the right decision right now, over and over, with a clock that felt less like a timer and more like a guillotine about to drop. And this is where Nakamura has his light bulb moment. He looks at this brand new, chaotic battlefield and asks a totally revolutionary question. What if the clock isn't something you just have to deal with? What if the clock is a weapon? What if his natural, lightning-fast instincts could be sharpened into an actual system? A system designed to make even the world's best players crack under pressure by robbing them of the one thing they need most: time. Time to think. This was never just about playing fast. It was about weaponizing speed. So, here's our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to start with that 2020 paradigm shift. Then, we'll dive into how his early struggles kind of forged this unique way of thinking. We'll break down the core philosophy of the Nakamura Method itself. Then, see how he puts it into action with the dominance engine. We'll watch his rise to become the undisputed king of the digital board. And finally, we'll pull out the one crucial lesson in all of this for you: how to eliminate the pause. Okay, so let's start at that critical moment, the point where the world flipped upside down and the entire future of competitive chess was suddenly on the table. Now, you have to understand, this wasn't some slow, gradual change for him. No, this was a conscious decision, a total systematic commitment. Nakamura knew that to own this new online world, he couldn't just be a slightly faster version of the old school players. He had to completely replace the very foundation of how they thought about chess. He decided to trade the old way of slow, careful calculation for the new way: instantaneous, systematic pattern recognition. It was a huge bet on his instincts, but instincts he was about to forge with insane discipline. And it all boiled down to this one simple, brutal conclusion. Dominance wasn't going to come from finding that one super brilliant 20-move combination that wins you a single game. Now, it was going to come from making the right move instantly, over and over and over again, game after game. It was a philosophy built on flawless execution at top speed. And for Nakamura, this wasn't just a style choice. It became his mission, the very thing that created his entire method. But listen, a system this intense, this radical, it doesn't just pop out of nowhere, right? To really get what the method is, you have to understand the man behind it and the struggles that literally forced him to create it. Here's the thing about early Nakamura. He was a paradox. On one hand, an absolute prodigy. He could play these brilliant, dazzling games that were just incredible to watch. But on the other hand, he was known for being volatile, kind of inconsistent. Especially in those slower, classical games where deep planning was everything, he often had a tough time against the very top guys. And that inconsistency, that wasn't just a weakness. It was the catalyst. It was the problem his whole method was designed to fix. He needed a system, something that would eliminate the mistakes and turn his raw genius into a consistent, unstoppable force. His goal became crystal clear: flawless execution, above all else. And this struggle led him to a pretty profound revelation. Think of your brain kind of like a computer's processor. It only has so much power, and the chess clock only has so much time. To win what he called the time war, He realized he couldn't afford to waste precious seconds recalculating basic stuff, the common tactical ideas like forks or pins. He had to make seeing those things completely automatic, as natural as breathing. By automating that whole tactical part of his brain, he could save all his mental energy and his clock time for the really big, game-winning strategic decisions. He had to turn calculation into pure instinct. Which brings us right to the heart of it all, the Nakamura Method itself. And it's way more than just a style of play. It's a full-blown philosophy, a belief system about time, competition, and how you win in any high-pressure situation. And there it is, this central equation. The entire Nakamura Method is built on one core belief. When there's a clock, time is the ultimate competitive variable. It is the one thing your opponent can never, ever get more of. So the method says you have to exploit it. By combining insane speed with a massive internalized library of patterns, you achieve dominance. It means you're not just playing the pieces on the board, you are actively playing the clock. And when you play the clock, you are playing your opponent's nervous system. So how does it work? Well, it's built on three main ideas, three pillars. First, you've got the hyper-pattern recognition mandate. This is the absolute commitment to training your brain to see a position and just know the right move instantly without having to calculate step by step. Then there's the Maximum Consistency Doctrine. Now, this is a huge mental shift. The goal is not to play one perfect, brilliant game. The goal is to stop making the simple, dumb mistakes that lose you games, especially when you're low on time. It's consistency over brilliance. And finally, the anti-theory flexibility rule. This just means he avoids those deep, memorized opening theories. Instead, he plays all sorts of openings to get the game into messy, tactical positions as fast as possible, because that's the battlefield where his speed and pattern recognition give him an absolutely brutal edge. So, okay, a philosophy is great, but how do you actually do it? How do you build the engine that makes all this happen day after day? Let's look at the actual, concrete routines that Nakamura lives by. I mean, just look at the difference here. It's night and day. The old school approach is all defensive. Avoid mistakes with slow thinking and rely on what you've memorized. Nakamura's method is pure offense. Use instant recognition to create suffocating time pressure, forcing your opponent into mistakes. It uses tactical chaos to keep them guessing. It's basically the complete opposite of traditional chess training. So how did he build this weapon? It comes down to two relentless routines. First, the Blitz and Bullet immersion loop. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, Blitz and Bullet are super fast online chess. We're talking games that last maybe 3 minutes for Blitz or an insane 1 minute for Bullet. He plays thousands and thousands of these games for hours every day. This isn't just for fun. It's a brute force way to burn those patterns into his brain until recognizing them is totally automatic. And the second routine is the Post-Game Tactical Flaw Audit. After playing, he ruthlessly uses computer engines not to find some brilliant move he missed, but to find every single simple, stupid mistake he made. This brutal, ego-free feedback loop is what sharpens his skills and systematically plugs his weaknesses. So, what was the result of all this? What did this relentless system actually create? Well, it created a complete transformation. Not just of a champion, but of a whole new kind of competitor for a new era. You can really see the whole story right here in his career path. He started out as that brilliant but volatile prodigy, totally unpredictable. Then came 2020, that pivotal year where he went all in on this method of speed and pattern. And the result today? It's undeniable. He transformed himself into the undisputed dominant king of online chess. He didn't just get better at the game, he built a system that made him practically unbeatable in this new arena. So what's his real legacy? It's that he proved something beyond any doubt. He proved that in our modern, super-fast digital world, his tools, systematic skill, raw speed, and a deep library of patterns were just plain better. They became the new winning formula, leaving the old ways of slow, methodical thinking in the dust. He didn't just win games, he fundamentally changed the definition of what it takes to win. And this whole idea, it's not just about chess anymore. His impact is now being felt everywhere. The Nakamura Method helped make high-volume, high-speed practice a core part of training for elites everywhere. The basic idea, that you master something by automating its core skills through tons of repetition and getting immediate feedback, that's now being used in all kinds of high-pressure fields, from professional esports to Wall Street trading to computer programming. All right, so let's bring this all home. Why should you care about this if you're not a chess grandmaster? Because the core idea of the Nakamura Method is a universal lesson in how to master anything. It's about how to perform flawlessly when the pressure's on and you're running out of time. So the real question is, how do you take this philosophy and use it for your own goals in your own craft? How do you build your own version of that dominance engine? Okay, here's the blueprint. It's actually pretty straightforward. First, get this in your head. What we call instinct or talent is really just automated calculation, built up over thousands of hours. Next, you got to commit to that high-volume repetitive practice to force that automation in whatever you do. And don't just practice blindly. You have to constantly audit your own work. Find your simple, recurring mistakes and systematically get rid of them. The goal isn't just to be faster. The goal is to be faster and more accurate. It's about accelerating your accuracy. So let's wrap this all up. Just remember, Hikaru Nakamura built his dominance on a powerful truth, that instinct is just automated calculation. The Nakamura Method gave us a blueprint proving that speed plus pattern really does equal dominance, all through relentless practice and ruthless error checking. And it all leads back to one final, powerful idea. The fastest way to win is to eliminate the pause before execution.